Hey everybody, and welcome back to Gooseberry Homestead. So we're going to be doing our container garden tour today, and this is the first week of December. I'll be doing another one partway through the month, so it's every other week. I'll be doing an update on my container garden, letting you guys know what's living, what's surviving, how the plants are looking, and that sort of thing. And so let's get to it. So we're going to come over here. We're going to start right here. I had brought these out from the greenhouse, and I had rearranged my greenhouse, and as you could see when I first started the video, my container wall on the fence line has changed also. So all of the pink pots have the strawberries in them. They're all out in the greenhouse now. So let's take a look here and see what's going on in these containers. There's really nothing in this one here on this end, but we do have some condensation on these containers here. And I closed the tops here because they've got these little air vents, but I don't want the water to escape. So I went ahead and I'm just gonna lift it so we can see. And I've got the lettuce in here. They were getting eaten alive out there in the greenhouse, so now they're right here, and they appear to be doing quite nicely so far. This one on the far right is starting to get bigger, and it looks like I do have some growth on some of the other lettuces, so hopefully they'll bounce back and I will actually start getting some lettuce. I'm probably going to be adding some arugula into these and try to grow some arugula also. And then here are some more lettuce in this one, and they're doing pretty good now that they're away from the greenhouse. There is a bug in there that is eating some of my plants, and it's okay for, you know, some of the plants to have their leaves eaten, but when you're trying to grow lettuce to eat yourself and you got a bug that's eating them before you ever get a chance to even let the plant get bigger, then you got issues. So I planted this back in the beginning of September, and they're still really small. So the bugs have been loving that lettuce. All right, so here's my lemon verbena. It's doing really good so far. Just a little bit of yellowing. Last year I remember this had green leaves up until, I'm wanting to say, January, when it really got cold, probably mid-January, and then it started losing all of its leaves. But I noticed that when I had it close to the house, it lost fewer leaves. So I'm keeping it closer to the house. Like I said in some of my other videos, my lemon verbena that I had in Germany would get full-on snow packed on top of it, and it would come back every year. And so while yes, this plant does not really like colder weather, it can survive. So with that being said, this is just kind of a look. This is more than one plant in this container. I've got multiple stems stuck into the ground from the original stems of the plant, and so this is what I'm left with, and it will become a nice size bush. I don't think it's considered a tree. So yeah, and I love this. This is one of my favorite plants. So that's there. And then here I've got my dragon snaps. They're doing really well. It's got a full thing of water up here because of, you know, we're in Washington, so we get a lot of rain in our area. So that's still full. I don't have anything else down on my lower part of my container stand. And then right here, I think this is a fuchsia that came up in here. I don't believe I planted seeds for this. I think the birds might have brought it in, but I'm not exactly sure. So I'm just letting it grow just to see what it turns out to be. But based on the leaf shape, and if anybody out there has seen these, let me know. I can get a little bit closer so you can see, but I think it is a fuchsia. So I don't have a fuchsia here at my house, so I can't tell whether or not it really is. So yeah. Okay, moving on. This is my arugula. It's doing nicely. All the babies, they are slowly, very slowly getting bigger. So that's encouraging. So that's all little baby arugula sprouts amongst the moss. So that's good. Hot and spicy oregano, doing great. Moroccan mint, doing great. It's not going to grow a whole lot this time of year. I'm going to get these little weeds. this actually grass, not weed. Not a weed. I got a couple. So whenever I see something that's not supposed to be in my containers, I generally will pull it out. So there's that. It's doing good. It's going to be shorter this time of year. It'll get big and full again in the spring and summer months. This is Bernat, and the parent plant was right there in that dead spot, and it survived the winter last winter through there was 2 weeks where we got down into freezing temperatures and the ground completely froze, and that survived and gave me all these seeds that created all these baby plants. So there's my Bernat. And some seeds have fallen to the ground too, so I'll probably end up with some herbs on the ground too. There might be mint down here, there might be Bernat, there might be thyme, there might be oregano. So yeah. Alright, so this one is my lemon thyme, and I only have a small couple. I've got these 2 little lemon thymes here, and then I've got a lemon thyme here, and then I do have a few little leaves here and there on this part, but this part may be completely dead. It might come back in the spring, but I have a lot of seeds that I had put into the container, so we'll just have to wait and see if any more plants come up in the spring. I've got quite a bit of baby German thyme on this side, and I cut back this section here. Same thing. For the most part, I think it's gone. It's dead, but it's possible it could come back from the root area. Down right here, I have my fennel, and it loves this weather, and so it's called bronze fennel. And what I'm thinking I'm probably going to do is I'll probably weed and stuff in the spring down here, and I'll put three of my purple containers. I'll leave this one here, and I'll put a container here, and I'll put a container here to keep the dog from peeing on it, and then that way I won't feel like I'm eating something that's got dog urine on it. So but yeah, I'll create something to keep the dog off of the fennel. But I've got a nice established plant right down there in the ground. And then my berries are all doing good, and the apple trees, some of them still have their leaves. This one was grown from the ambrosia apple. This one here is grown from an opal apple, and I believe this was the one with the red leaves, but all the leaves have come off. This is definitely a crab apple. And then this one here, I believe this one is the apple tree for the Koru, and I really butchered this one this spring or this fall, and I trimmed back a lot on this one, and I'm just experimenting. I'm growing in containers, and I'm planning to do a lot of grafting in the future, so I'm not really worried about height at this point. I'm planning to use a lot of these apple trees that I've grown from seed to graft onto an individual rootstock. So I'm not so worried about anything at this point. So yeah, but my raspberries they still have some of their leaves, which is really impressive. My boysenberry still has its leaves, and there's one leaf left on that apple tree right here. That's kind of interesting. This one is the Autumn Glory that I grew from seed. I'm using the names of the apples that I grew from on my labeling of my apples, but only because I want to know what variety I had planted the seed from. And they're not going to taste anything like the parent plant, you guys. Nothing like it, most likely. So I could end up with crab apples. I could end up with apple apples. So time will tell. This is my pink blueberry. This is the pink lemonade blueberry plant, and this is what it's looking like now. It's very gorgeous. This would be great planted as an ornamental bush in your front yard, even because of its striking red colors. This time of year would be absolutely stunning. So this is a really nice plant. So I'm loving it. So that one's doing good. I don't have anything planted down in the base anymore because I moved all my strawberries into their own containers. So this one is also a apple tree, and this one, all of the container pots that have a red stake in it have a apple tree, at least the ones I grew from seed, that is. And then this one has different blackberries in this container, and a lot of them still have their leaves as well. And then moving along, here are different, there's one apple tree in there, and then I've got different trees and like a lilac planted in here. I've got roses planted in here. I have grape hyacinth, and then I have one large hyacinth right down here. That was a surprise. I didn't realize that I had a bulb for this. This is going to be a larger hyacinth. This looks like it's possibly going to be a larger hyacinth also. Now that I'm seeing it down here, I see a bigger section. So generally the bigger ones, that's going to be like a bigger hyacinth. So it looks like I might have gotten some of those in there. I've had the crows keep coming out here on some of my pots and trying to eat all of the bulbs and things, so hopefully my more established plants aren't going to get destroyed. I have goji berries in this container, so I've got they're all woody bits right now, so we'll just have to wait and see how things progress. I'm hoping that my little rosebush rescue from the front area, I'm hoping that they actually produce some flowers in the spring. They were growing in a wrong spot out front, and so I pulled them up from the roots, and there were some roots on them, so I just stuck them in the water and got them to root more, and then I planted them, and they're doing excellent. They still have leaves, which is nice. Moving on, down here I have my sharp blueberry, and you guys, I'm absolutely loving the growth pattern on this bush now. I did a lot of pruning this last year, like extensive pruning, so much that it was just super extreme, you guys. And so but I'm really liking the overall shape, and I know that it's going to look better and get an even better shape as I train it. So there's that. Now we're going to be turning, and we're going to come over here, and we're going to look at these ones. And this is the elderberry, and it's lost all of its leaves now. This is the thundercloud, and I still have these little twig bits here. Those just come right off. Those are where leaves were formed on, and now it's completely bare, and we've got all the different little red nodes where new branches will grow in the spring all over the plant. And so they're just all over. See, they're just beautiful. So we got these little red nodes on the elderberry. This is a thundercloud. Moving on, this is how my tinier there we go, get that focused. This is my smaller smaller apricot tree. This is my Spanish apricot, and it's the snack variety, so they're the smaller apricots. So this is how this one is looking. I really like the shape of it, and I'm excited for its future. I am planning to do minimal amount of pruning next year on this, and allowing it to just get bigger, and see what growth I get from it in the spring and summer next year. So I'm only going to be cutting away anything that's dead or dying on this tree in the spring. Moving on, my phone's about to die because it doesn't like the cold weather. I'm going to go ahead, and olive herb on the far right of this container is doing great. Soapwort is still alive down on the left. I've got fruiting spurs going all the way up. The base of this is my Colomer apple tree. This one is, I believe, Tasty Red. It could be Blushing Delight though, but I'm pretty sure this one is labeled Tasty Red. Wait, nope, this one's labeled Blushing Delight. This one did not give me any fruit last year. Still has a few leaves, but if I just barely touch the leaves, they'll fall off. This is the other Spanish apricot. It is doing amazing. It had a lot of great growth. It's considerably taller than the other one, and it was initially taller than the other apricot tree as well. So this is my real sturdy, strong growing apricot. So this is how this one is looking, and I'm going to be doing minimal pruning on this next year too. I will only prune what I must, and that I will leave it at that. but I'm liking the shape. It's perfect height for myself. And the other one I would like to get a little bit bigger. This one it will get bigger and taller with time. So I'm happy with where it is. Then right here is my Alesso elderberry. We have red nodes on it also. It's doing excellent. And I've got there's the red nodes, and they go all the way down here and there on the stem. I've got nodes down here at the base where I'm going to be getting more of these type of stems coming on. This is last year's stem. It's nice and thick. I'm looking for that kind of growth pattern. I've got node here, a node here, node here, node here. I'm gonna have a lot of branching. I'm really excited. I haven't looked at the other side of the stem to see what's on this other side. It looks like I do have one right here. And so I've got a good amount of stemmy branches that will come off. It will also most likely put off branching from under the ground. So I'm excited for this bush in the spring. My Russian olive is doing excellent, doing really good. It's on the right hand side here. My other pot has my Lebanon cedar. It's doing excellent, you guys. Excellent. Love this. One of my favorite evergreens here in my garden. This is my other columer. This is the Tasty Red, but it looked more like a Blushing Delight. I want to be completely honest. I think it was labeled incorrectly at the store from the manufacturer, most likely. Down here, I've got, it looks like I still have a berry down here in a strawberry that survived the attack of my fertilizing. And so yeah, I'm looking to see if there's any more. Looks like right here, this is, I can't remember what I had planted in here, but I'll have to look back at my other videos and see. But it is, I don't remember. I'll have to look at my other videos to remember what variety the strawberry was. But I've got some weeds in there too. So this had the eyeball plant in here. The eyeball plant has completely died back. So it might come back from the roots. It might not. But I do have seeds scattered throughout the pot. So hopefully in the spring I'll have little eyeball plants pop up in this. Then over here I've got my pots with my rosemary. I've got one pot on either side that has the rosemary. And then these were supposed to be going to some people at my church, but they're still here. So I said goodbye at the beginning of November, but they're still here. They might be still moving, so I'm just going to wait for them to give me the okay to bring them to them. And when I get that okay, I'll bring them because I don't want to force anything on anybody. So I still love them. This one has got a lot of really awesome growth, and this one's doing pretty good now as well. I really only want to give them the healthy plant, so I might just give them this one here, and this one's a little bit less healthy, so I really feel like I need to baby this one a little bit longer, but this one is doing really good. So here are my cherry trees in this container, right here and here, the taller one and these two smaller ones. The two smaller ones came from the cherry trees back here, and they have sent out roots into the yard, and that's typically something that happens from cherry trees and apple trees that have been grown from seed. So that is the characteristic of that. And then in the top of this container I have cutting celery, and that's actually doing really good, and so I hope to harvest some of the cut celery from here in the future. This had gooseberries planted in it last year, and I'm just watching it to see if any more pop up this next spring. And so I'm just kind of watching it. I got other weeds and stuff popping up in it, so I'll probably pull those out here shortly just so that I can keep an eye on it. This is my mountain ash. This is my Ivan's Beauty mountain ash. Lost all of its leaves. And I've got bubbleberries down in the bottom, grape hyacinths, and roses of Sharon, and they have lost all of their leaves as well down in this pot. So I'm hoping they make it through the winter. Last year I overwintered the roses of Sharon indoors. This is how the pineapple sage is doing. I still have a few leaves on my European cherry plum, believe it or not. And then on this here are my gooseberries. The gooseberry leaves that are closer to the ground are still on the gooseberries, and I've got grape hyacinth in some of them, but for the most part they've lost their leaves. And then I come down here to the end, and this one gooseberry still has quite a few of its green leaves. This is the other variety. This is the large gooseberry that I had gotten seeds from, and so that's how it's looking. And then this is an empty container pot with a Swiss chard pot in top. Here are the three. I had two smaller pots, two gray pots, and then a green pot like that is under all of these leaves. I mulched them. That has my asparagus growing in them. This is what the broccoli's looking like. I'm just gonna leave it there. Some of it went to seed, some of it hasn't. I've got little blossoms on the broccoli, but I'm watching and looking to see if I get any more broccoli growing, but I'm thinking it's getting a little bit too cold now, so I don't know, might be out of luck. Here's the Crandall currant. It's lost all of its leaves, and it's looking great this time of year. And then this was the comfrey. It's completely died back, and so this is my first year growing comfrey, so I don't know. Then I've mulched all along the fence line where my garlic is planted, and every single spot all the way down I have mulched where I planted a gooseberry and a elderberry, because I wanted to make sure that I had everything covered, because they were just planted early fall, and I wanted to make sure that they're nice and insulated throughout the winter. And I put a stand where each one is so that my son, who's special needs, doesn't run up and down and squish my plants. And then coming along here, my hydrangea that I broke apart is doing pretty good. I do have a couple stems, though the stems may not make it, but we'll just have to wait and see, and I'll keep you guys updated if they start showing signs of life in the spring. But they're still here. I'm not going to move them. This is my sage plant, and it reminds me of a bonsai. I just love it. I've taken a lot of clippings off of it this year and started those up, as well as my rosemary. This one is doing really good. It's gotten really tall, and I probably will be harvesting a little bit of it to use. And then right here I've got my other rosemary. Move that twirly bit out. And so this is my other rosemary. I had one portion die back, but I'm gonna leave it alone and see what happens in the spring, because some parts might come back. And then I've got this little lone rosemary right there, so I'm gonna leave that there. So my rosemary is doing good. Got some garlic planted right in here, and those are from the blossoms part, that the scapes that created the little seeds in them, so I planted those. And then this has got maple tree seeds in them. And then my greenhouse is right here. I'm gonna take a look in there, but I'm not gonna do that on video because next week I do the video update for that. So this is my container garden. This is how it is doing. And you guys, I'll show you that that Zeller's Bodel mushroom, and that's how it's looking like now. I never did get around to doing my video. It's well past its prime for harvesting. It's already started to die. It never really truly bruised up, but you can see the mark that I made with my finger in my greenhouse video right there. And but yeah, it's edible, but I'm leaving it there so that it can spread its spores, and I can have more of these edible mushrooms in the yard, because I did the math. I had collected like 5 or 6 of those before, and I had close to $30 worth of mushrooms growing in my yard, that, you know, so I just think it's really awesome. So I'm letting it go, and I'm going to let it spread, so I'll have more mushrooms in the future. And so hopefully I'll have mushrooms popping up all over my yard that I can harvest and eat. So in the future I hope to do more mushroom growing, so I'll be looking into that. So anyways, you guys, that's pretty much it for my container garden this time of year. You guys kind of get a good idea about how things are doing and what everything's looking like. And have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Click that bell button. And as always, have a wonderful day, and God bless you all. Bye.